Okay, yeah, I have no idea what's wrong with this car. Welcome to Dirt, Sweat, and Gears, home of the best video and audio production quality in all of YouTube. Just kidding, we're still here with my iPhone, but this time hopefully a slightly less bad wired microphone. We're here with my Miata, and today is actually a really great day because we might be able to see a test fire of this thing. Before we get into it, we're going to run through some of the things that I have done along the way, some of the things that I need to do in order to do a test fire, and what our expectations are. First and foremost, we're just going to start this thing. We're not going to run it for any amount of time. The reason for that is because we don't have a cooling system hooked up yet. So really, all I want to do is to start it up and know that it doesn't sound like a weed whacker. The real key here is, first of all, I want to know that there's compression. I want to know that I've wired up the electrical correctly. And also, I want to know if these lifters that I purchased made a difference in the way it sounds. So let's go take a look at the car. First thing you're going to notice is that there's a lot missing. I've still got a lot of work to do on this car. But I don't need a timing cover to test fire this. I don't need a radiator to test fire this. I don't need an AC compressor or a power steering pump. I don't even need to hook up the belt for the alternator. I might, but probably not. This, I have no idea what this connects to. So that'll be fun. I think it might connect to this right here. It might have just broken off. So if I can find the end to it, great. If not, I'm going to have to improvise. That's very unfortunate. I did not notice when this left my garage, when this left its current position. So that's cool. I did reconnect the whole top end. I'm going to disconnect the coil pack first, just so that I can get some oil circulating through the motor before I actually start it up. So I'm going to disconnect the coil pack, and then we're going to run it, and then we're going to reconnect it and hopefully start the car up. Reconnected the cam angle sensor. It's all put together. The valve cover's cinched down. So all I got to do is put some oil in it. I do have to reconnect those grounds. And those hose clamps haven't come in yet. I'm not driving it, so we don't have to worry about that. Inside the car, I've still got some things to put together. I'm not really worried about that. I'm pretty sure I can still start up the car without having it all buttoned up. Let's pop the trunk. And then in the trunk, obviously, we have to reconnect the battery. I've got these nice rubber protector boots to keep things from sparking again. But yeah, I got to reconnect the battery, the very oversized battery, and then I'll be able to start this car up. And lastly, I'm going to reinstall the harmonic balancer. I got the new Pulley Boss in from Treasure Coast Miata. It was not cheap, but it will work perfectly once I get this lined up. And then I can put the included new bolts in with some Loctite, and that will work just fine. I got the battery connected. I've got the harmonic balancer on. I've filled it up with oil, and I've disconnected the coil packs. I am going to try to start it. I'm really nervous. It's not going to start because I've disconnected the coil packs, but I'm hoping it cranks. I'm just going to give it one quick pop. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to crank it for just a few seconds. Okay. Now let's reconnect the coil pack and see if it starts up. All right, reconnected. Grounds are connected. Really nervous. Something's happening. I'm assuming there's no fuel. Motor's shaking quite a lot. That's a little concerning. And it's not turning over. Okay, great. Now we know more than we did before. I did notice that the brake booster was disconnected, which would have caused a massive vacuum leak, which could be causing this problem. So I'm going to give it one more try. Battery's dying. Okay, I might have to just charge the battery for a while. I think I had the firing order wrong. It should be 3214, and it was not that. So we're going to give it another try. It's a lot smoother, I think. So first things first, I tried to start this car and it would crank, but it wouldn't turn over. When I pulled the spark plugs, zoom in, there, almost. Oh, come on, iPhone. Come on, iPhone. Come on, iPhone. Oh boy. So when I pulled the plugs, I noticed that these plugs have never fired. And, well, you can't smell the plugs, but I very much can. And there's fuel. So my fuel rail is wired up correctly. It is firing in fuel, but I'm getting no spark. And I have confirmed that by trying to start the car up and observing for spark at the plug itself. So I'm not getting spark. Up next, I decided to look for any obvious wiring issues that might prevent either spark or the spark signal from reaching the coil pack or from reaching the plugs. And then I noticed this here. The original wiring harness was pretty torn up, and I just didn't have a whole lot of faith that this was getting the connection it needed. So I cut out this wiring harness, and I'm keeping it just in case I want to repin it later. And I spliced in a generic AutoZone harness. These wires are just fine for conducting, and I've tested that they all receive signal. They all receive power. I used really just a test light, and it shows the voltage you're getting. And then I tried again, and it didn't work. So I checked with the test light up here to find out if it was getting power, and indeed it was. And just for giggles, I thought maybe it could be the igniter. Maybe the signal is not reaching properly, the signal to spark. And, you know, that was a cheap enough part. I found it on eBay for like 30 bucks. So there's the old one. There's a new one, brand new igniter. Well, not brand new. It is lightly used, but is guaranteed to work, and it is working. And I tested it, pretty much the same behavior. It is getting signal. The old one is still good, so I'm not going to throw it out. So I think I'm down to coil packs, because if it's looking good up till here, but not after here, I think this is the problem. So I found a coil pack on eBay for 35 bucks, thankfully, and I'm going to see if that works out. I do have to swap out the coil packs in the frame that it sits in so that it fits on this motor, but that's not a big deal. And then after that, if that all works out, I've got the new lower timing cover, brand new from Treasure Coast Miata. Again, these guys are pretty much gods. This is really cool. All right, normally this car is a lot of fun to work on, but today's an exception. So I got the new cam angle sensor. Here's the old one. There's the new one. But you know what I had trouble with? I couldn't line this up without taking the whole valve cover off and then take the cap off so that I could see where the stupid notch was. Because no matter what I tried, it was like trying to plug in a USB slot, except you put it in one way and then it wouldn't work, and then you flip it over and then you try it again and then you try it again on the other way, and it just... So in order to get this thing to line up at all, I had to take this whole in, and this is upside down. So I gotta rotate this around. Okay. Now it's in the right spot. So I have to redo all of this stuff. I have to clean off all of this. This is actually Honda Bond, which is really expensive. And I use it because it seals better. I have to clean all of that shit off. I have to clean all of that shit off of the valve cover gasket. And that's no guarantee that this valve cover gasket will ever work again, because I had that same exact problem with the Prelude, where I tried to reuse the gasket after putting exactly 0 miles on it, after having it on, that's all, and without even starting up the car. Okay? Without even starting up the car. I had to throw out the valve cover gasket. So I might have to do that with this one. And in which case, I have to go through all this shit again. But I digress. I've got the new cam angle sensor on. I've got to put all this back together. And then we're going to try starting this car up for the 121st time. Well, it took me about an hour, but I managed to get all of the Honda Bond off of the valve cover gasket. I had to use my fingernail, of course, so I'm quite exhausted from that. But I got it back together with the new cam angle sensor. This bracket, by the way, for the coil pack, I wanted to paint it black, but my black spray paint decided, even though it's almost a brand new can, decided it was done. So I sprayed it red because I figured, why the hell not? And I don't mind the way it looks because the car is red. But it's just another dumb thing that I did to this car just for shits and giggles. Let's try starting this up and see if this car really, really, really wants to ruin my life or not. Okay, yeah, I have no idea what's wrong with this car. I'd say this car is driving me crazy, but this car is driving me nowhere. Because in order to drive me crazy, it has to fucking drive. God damn it. Before I get too deep into what I'm doing, I want to show you something. So I've been trying to trace down why I'm not getting a signal for the ignition pulse. And I've checked everything up here. I've even got a new igniter, new cam angle sensor, new coil packs. I've checked all the wires. The plastic is broken here, but they're not shorting out or anything. So that's why I've exposed that wire, just so I can check it all. The next thing that occurred to me was maybe I should check the ECU. And so I pulled the carpet back, and I saw this. Yeah, I'm sure the ECU is perfectly fine. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it. Good God. What the hell happened to this car? So, I haven't seen the ECU yet, but that doesn't look good. Let's take a look at what we got here. It looks like the connections are a little banged up there. It doesn't look all that bad, to be honest. But I gotta pull this ECU, open it up, and see if it's see if the board's fried. 'Cause this doesn't look good. You know what this means, right? This means this car was flooded. And it came up to here, just underneath the ECU. The ECU actually looks fine. I took it apart, and I'll show pictures in the video. I'll just show the pictures. I don't need to take it apart and show it in video. But it looks fine on the inside. So I think either the bracket was swapped and a new ECU was put in, or the previous owner just got lucky. The wiring, on the other hand, does look a little bit rough. Jesus, this rust. The wiring, on the other hand, is a little suspect. This, I can't tell if this is just rust that stuck to the wiring, or if this had some kind of short and I'm looking at a fried wire. I honestly can't tell. I think this car may just die with me. But that may not be so bad because I have a TR7 that I can put all of the working parts of this car into. And I may end up just doing that. Because this car, the more I dig into it, the worse it gets. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm not surprised to see the front end damage. But that flood genuinely was surprising. This is bad. Guys? Something's happening. Something's finally happening! Okay, let's take a look at what I did really quick. That sounds like compression and a little bit of spark. Something is happening, and I definitely smell exhaust. So something is burning, which is, in the cylinders, not not in the rest of the car. So check out what I did. First thing is I got tired of throwing new parts at it, so I exposed every single wire that I touched, which is why these are not shrink wrapped or anything like that, which is why it's all exposed. One of the things I noticed was that my grounds were wired up differently than what was on the wiring diagram. So and I thought that wasn't a problem because I could just reconnect them at the, where they connect at the end. But I guess I was either wrong or one of my connections was bad, on the butt connectors that I made. So I kind of followed what was done before, which was to connect, two grounds together, and then the other grounds to another ground, and I chose better locations. That might have made all the difference in the world, in fact. I decided to put one ground down here instead of off of the fuel pressure regulator, and another ground here, and then just for good measure, I made a connecting wire just to be sure that I was going to ground, just to be damn hell sure that I was going to ground. Connected over here to the intake manifold, and then way over here just to make sure. If I can get this car running, I'm going to take all of that off and then see if it still runs just fine. But otherwise, this is progress. Something is happening finally. So I'm going to keep trying to diagnose this and see if I get it to actually start. So all I've done was switch the spark plug wires with the coils because I'm not sure if the ones that I had before were in the correct position. I did match with the picture that I had taken from earlier, but I was still getting an intake backfire and obviously that non-start that you saw earlier. So I switched that and let's give it a go. Yeah! Okay. One more thing. That's good. We have air, fuel, and spark. Let's try disconnecting this. Because that's pretty damn dirty. If it even works at all. I know the air fuel meter prevents it from running for more than a second. Yeah! Okay. I have no cooling in this car yet. So, oh my God, finally, it starts. Okay. Oh, this feels so good. It starts. I'm about to cry. I'm seriously about to cry. Yes. Oh God. Really, the next thing is to clean up and button up what I've done so far. All of my wires are still exposed, so I've got to rewrap those and clean that all up, bolt everything back together. I can't set the timing until I've got the cooling system in and I can let this car idle and warm up. And obviously, I've got that issue with the air fuel meter. And once I get that sorted out, I can actually put this car back together. I want to get the air conditioning system back together and a new steering system. So those are next on the list of new parts I have to buy. But this is a major, major milestone. God, I think I'm just going to spend the rest of the day just relaxing because that beat me up yesterday. That really beat me up yesterday. God. All right. Let's get this thing buttoned up. All right, this is as good as I care to get it for now, which is not bad. I got all of the wires wrapped up. This one is a little tight, but it's not a problem at the moment. If it becomes a problem, I can just add a few inches to the wire. I'm not terribly worried about it. I did not need the extra ground that I had run out here. That was just because I wanted to go super crazy overkill. I cleaned everything up, cleaned up all my tools, and I did the little zip tie trick to make the spark plugs a little bit nicer. I may clean up the spark plug wires eventually, but I'm still putting my dirty hands all over this engine. So until that changes, I'm just going to leave it as is. I still have to put hose clamps on all of the hoses. I still have to obviously rebuild the cooling system, flip that over. Next thing I'm going to buy is the steering rack. I'll probably try to source that locally to save on shipping and make it an easy core return. In fact, I may just pull it first and then take it to a local shop. But this is really encouraging. This is really, really inspiring. I put in a whole lot of work on this car, and I have a whole lot of work left to do on it. But that was loud. But I don't hate this car anymore. I'm going to start it up one last time before I take a break just to feel good. Oh, yeah. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah. Thank you for watching.